Here we have a Ford Transit Custom, and we installed an Alpine iLX F903D floating stereo into this vehicle. I like to say we, it was actually me, and I was here last night on my own. There's no we. Anyway, let me show you the stereo. Right, as you can see, the actual factory stereo has been removed and this fascia's been put in its place, so we could actually mount an aftermarket stereo. And the screen is 9" with these Alpine stereos, and as you can see, it's quite substantial. Let me power it up so you can actually see what it looks like. And the nice thing about these stereos, because they call it a floating stereo, because the actual screen is slightly detached from the main body of the stereo itself, which is housed inside. You could angle it off, you could tilt it, you could move it up and down as well, you could slide it. With these Ford Transits, the actual stereo naturally sits in a funny angle anyway, and you'll get sun glare because of it. But because of this stereo, the way that you could actually angle it, like what I've done here, you're not going to get sun glare because it's pretty vertical on the dash. So I've installed the harness adapters, the correct harness adapters for this vehicle. So the steering wheel controls also work. So you could adjust the volume and skip tracks. So the customer doesn't really lose anything for having an aftermarket stereo compared to having a factory fitted stereo. Well, as standard, the stereo has Bluetooth connectivity, so not only for hands-free get Bluetooth, but also Bluetooth audio, so you could stream your music via it wirelessly. Also, I've mounted a USB lead. I put it in here in this pocket here, so you could plug your phone into it or any other device, use a USB device, and just throw it in the pocket there, so it's not in the way, and that'll stream music through it as well. Also, with these Transits, when you actually turn the ignition off, pull the key out, the actual stereo stays live. That's the standard one. It stays live for a little while, and before it all powers down. And when you open the door, that's when it all shuts down. So with this adapter kit that we've installed into here, it maintains all the original features. So basically the Alpine stereo is still on and functioning as the factory one would do as well. And as soon as you open the door, it all powers down. What we've also done here, we've fitted PowerBase upgrade speakers, and with the PowerBase, they do specialise predominantly on Fords, to be honest with you, and it's a complete upgrade speaker setup. That fits in the original holes without having to actually make any cutouts, and it fits perfectly, and also uses the factory plugs as well, so you're not chopping any wiring up or anything like that, so you could put it all back to standard again without having to do any modification whatsoever if you wanted to. Well, I'm just taking the door card off now, so then I can replace the factory front speakers. Right, door card's off, and as you can see, that's your Ford speaker, and it's just made up of paper cones. It's not the best of quality. It doesn't actually sound that healthy, to be honest with you. It's like the quills rubbing. Right, just replace the speaker on the front door, and as you can see, it's a direct factory replacement. So it's all OEM fitting. Even the plug is the original Ford plug, so there's no chopping into the loom, and it all fits exactly how the old one fitted, but obviously better quality. This particular speaker is PowerBase, and they do quite a few of the Ford speakers as direct replacement, so they just go in OEM places. This is just like a basic install. We can actually do sound deadening to help out. That's only probably worth it if you're going to start amplifying the speakers and having high value speakers in there, then it's probably worth doing that, but obviously that's all that extra cost. But in this setup, it's just running off a aftermarket stereo, but no external amplifier. Right, both the speakers are in the door cards. Door cards are all back on. So the only other thing to do now is the tweeters. So you've got the housing there for the tweeter. That is the PowerBase tweeter. So, and then that's the Ford connector. So it just goes directly into the Ford loom without chopping any wires. Right, the A-pillar's off. That is where the factory tweeter is, as you can see. And that is the Ford plug for the tweeter. So got this adapter. That just plugs in, and then we could wire our aftermarket tweeters straight onto it without chopping any wires. So this is a what I'll call a simple stereo upgrade system on this Ford Transit custom van, but fitted this Alpine iXL 903D stereo, which is a pretty superb stereo.